It was 1989, so I would have been 23 years old. I was young.
Yeah.
I was going into the Navy. I mean, I was a fairly responsible kid, but when you're young, and you enjoy your adventures, so
Right.
it was a thrill. My motivation is that of being a little bit on the nerd side. When I was a kid, I used to watch the original Star Trek. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And I always watched Captain Kirk being on a bridge giving commands. And I've always said to myself, you know what, someday I want to be on a bridge of a ship giving commands. So yeah, it was for a long time. It also helped keep me focused in school because I had a goal. I wanted to do something. And I think anyone who has a goal, even if they have an obstacle ahead of them, will figure out a way to get around that obstacle. And I was excited to go and see the world because my first deployment was literally, I got to my ship and within a few months we're off to Gulf War I. We're out to sea for 9 months. So you're 23, 24 years old, you're on a ship, you're picking up the Marines out of Morehead City, North Carolina. So what is a young man gonna think? Any young man's gonna be like, oh my God, this is different from college. Started off in Pensacola, Florida, that was for about a year. This is all training, then went to Newport, Rhode Island, that was a year. Then Norfolk, Virginia, 3 years. Cuba for a couple of years, Japan for 5 years, Mosul, Iraq for a year, San Diego for a couple of years. Those are where I was stationed. Now, I think I visited up to 18 countries by last count that I had. Well, Japan, living there for 5 years, you really get to understand the place. I mean, those who have had me for courses know I always go back to Japan. Hong Kong stands out as a really nice visit. And then Darwin, Australia, always stand out. When I was in Iraq, by the time I got to landside in Iraq, I'm an older guy, I was in my 40s, and war is a young person's game. So, not as the same type of jeopardy as someone that's like, say, 18 to 25. The times I ever felt in jeopardy was in the convoys going from Mosul up to the Kurdish area. You always worried about improvised explosive devices, running over them and getting blown up from underneath, which was something that was pretty common. Obviously, the Iraq War was difficult. I was stationed with the Army. I was actually put into the Army for a year and a half, and we were stationed out of Mosul. And you saw young people, people not much older than you two, they didn't come back. And that's tough. I was what you call a surface warfare officer specialized in amphibious operations. So a surface warfare officer is on a surface ship, and my specialty was getting the Marines from point A to point B. So our job was to bring the Marines close to the beach, turn over, let the Marines go out the back, they storm the beaches, and we support them from the shoreline. The favorite part is meeting people from all over the world, and all over your country. I mean, I know for many students here, the Cape Cod Canal is like a border unto itself. I served on ships and lived in close proximity both on ship and in combat zones with people from every nook and cranny of this country, and you get to learn a lot about the country that way. And then going along the world, it's being stationed in a place like Tokyo, Japan, and just getting to know people, and you find out there's a lot of things that bind us together. We always emphasize those things that divide us, but there are a lot of things that make us all the same. 20 years active duty and then 2 years reserve. It's always going to be part of me. I'm not going to say, I wish I could go back. I don't think of it that way. I always believe, you make memories, cherish those memories, but try not to relive those memories because you always want to make new memories. The Navy will always be part of me. You folks see me in classroom, just my vocabulary once in a while kind of goes into Navy jargon. It will always be part of me, but it's also a past part of me, and I'm always looking ahead to the future.